What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another collaboration beer. This time between the Pittsburgh Brewing Company, and they are headquartered in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the Alchemist, and they are out of Stowe, Vermont, and this is their Over. So this is a Pilsner, and on the label it also says Gold beer. It comes in at 5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This can is just under 4.5 months old. So you might be asking yourself, how does the Pittsburgh Brewing Company, known for the regional classic Iron City beer and like Iron City Light, how do they collab with the Alchemist, known for Heady Topper and Focal Banger? Well, on the back of the label here, Brandon Mays from the Pittsburgh Brewing Company, I believe he is the director of brewing there, is a little bit of a spiel here that I will read. It says, as a Pennsylvania native with a deep-rooted love for the Pittsburgh area, I was more than excited to join Pittsburgh Brewing after 16 years of brewing in Vermont. Those connections made in Vermont generated the idea of collaborating with a Vermont brewery with direct ties to Pittsburgh to benefit the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh as they mark 50 years of fostering a community of safety, healing, and empowerment for anyone affected by domestic violence. Furthermore, Brandon used to brew at the Long Trail Brewing Company. Like I said, he brewed for 16 years in Vermont. He was at the Long Trail Brewing Company. And John Kimmich, the founder of the Alchemist, is actually, I'm pretty sure, a Pittsburgh native. So when you take all that into consideration, it makes perfect sense for them to collab, in my opinion. And at the bottom here, they also have a little spiel about the beer specifically. It says, brewed using the finest European barley and hops, this Pilsner combines old world tradition and new world innovation. Enjoy this modern day classic with a distinct Alchemist twist. And thank you for supporting the good work of WCNS, which is the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh. Awesome that they are supporting the shelter and whatnot. It's just, as a whole, this beer is awesome. Even if I end up not enjoying the beer, I still think it's pretty fantastic that this came to be. They also have a secondary beer called Under that they're collabing on, and it is a dark lager. And by the time you see this review, that should be on the shelves wherever you find the Pittsburgh Brewing Company products. I don't get Pittsburgh Brewing Company here in Buffalo, New York, but I did pick this up in Erie, Pennsylvania on a recent day trip, and they had a can in the cooler, and I didn't care that it was a bit older. I wanted to try this one. So I'm going to crack it open, get it into the glass, and see what we got going on here. Now, I have not reviewed Iron City beer or Iron City Light. However, I have had Iron City beer before. I had a 4-year-old can last November, and it was still actually pretty decent. Believe it or not, it was a back of the fridge find. So I thought that was pretty wild. So we're gonna give it a pour here into the big mug. I'm expecting basically more or less a hoppy Pilsner. That's what this is gonna kind of be like, but it is just under 4.5 months old. So taking consideration, this does have some age, so it might not be as pungent and intense as you would have, originally seen maybe, a couple months back, but we'll see. So that looks beautiful. That has like a cloudy kind of straight up yellow, like sunshine color. Hold it up to light. Yeah, the clarity is really nice. It has a very gentle haze to it. Great carbonation. About 1.5 fingers of this bright white, creamy looking head. A little bit of soap sudsy action, but mostly creamy. That just looks like an absolutely beautiful lager of some sort. Definitely an unfiltered lager, no questions asked. So let's get a nose. Nice. So I'll be honest with you, it definitely has... It has a little bit of like what you would get at like a traditional Pilsner, but then a little bit of like an adjunct-y feel to it. Because I don't know what they're brewing this one. I do get a little bit of like a corny sensation, or just like a generic grainy sensation. But then on top of that, there is a little bit of citrus, a little bit of grassiness, and a little bit of dankness. Is that coming from the Alchemist twist? Yeah, it has this like very slight, like dank kind of quality. A touch of like a red apple, like sweeter red fruits. Like I said, touch of citrus, more of like a lemon, rind, maybe a bit of orange. It definitely smells like a lager for sure. yeah, it just smells like a little bit of a. I think they said it perfectly on the can. This smells like an old school kind of pils. To me, it's like an old school pilsner meets an adjunct lager with a little bit of like a hoppy twist to it, which is the Alchemist influence on this one. Yeah, it doesn't smell bad. It actually smells pretty good. It smells quite refreshing. I anticipate this one being, pretty much what it is in my glass. Again, it's just under 4.5 months old. It's not super fresh, but I had to review it. I had to try it, and here we are. So let's get into this one. Cheers, everybody. Prost. That's nice. For what this beer is supposed to be, this is really well done. And in the taste, I'm not getting adjunct lager vibes. I don't know what it is with the nose. Yeah, the nose has that, again, that like corny, just kind of like adjunct lager funk that I get like with a lot of like just straight up macro lagers. In the taste, definitely not. Buying this is bigger than I anticipated at 5%. It's like medium, maybe a touch over, really nice. The mouthfeel is beautiful. This is a very clean beer. A very crisp beer too, extremely crisp, smooth on the palate, easy going down. Mouthfeel spectacular, sensational, and the body is impressive. So they are right off the bat hitting me in the feels with the body and mouthfeel for something like this. Like I could just drink this beer for the body and mouthfeel alone. Like the sensation of it being, which each sip is just fun to drink regardless of the tasting notes. The taste though is really nice up front. I get that graininess, but it has a more of a like a crackery, biscuity kind of malt character that you would get from like a traditional German Pils. And it's really nice. It almost has like a rye spiciness because it has a little bit of spiciness right at the forefront for me, which is rare. So it's somewhat bready, biscuity, crackery, but it just has that malty kind of graininess that you anticipate from the style. As it passes through, there's some lemon zest, middle of the palate, a bit of like an orange rind or maybe even an orange peel, something in that realm. I get hit with the darker red fruits, like again, like a red apple, like closer to the skin, has like a little bit of a tannic red apple vibe. And then the finish is this nice, slightly spicy and grassy kind of finish. But I'm getting a touch of a dank character. And again, I think that's where the Alchemist twist comes in. Maybe if this was fresher, that dank quality would pop more and be kind of noticeable where you're like, yeah, I can see where the influence of, something like Heady Topper would be in this beer or just the Alchemist as a whole. But it really hits me on the back of the palate. Really, it's welcomed because this isn't a sweet beer to begin with, but it's just kind of, your typical standard good Pilsner. And then on the finish, I get something a little bit different, sets itself apart. It's unique. It's enjoyable. It finishes very dry. This is almost bone dry. Mild to moderate bitterness, more smack dab in the middle. This is more dry than bitter. Again, a very clean beer. It wants me to go back for more with each sip. 5% alcohol by volume. You can't tell, or at least I can't. This is really nice. For what this is, price point, the fact that Pittsburgh Brewing is, collabing with the Alchemist, and I wish I would have been able to pick up the under. I went to area a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. I did not see it in the cooler or anything. I don't think they had released it yet. I think they got released more in later November into early December. But for what this beer is, I am very impressed. Very impressed. Now, personal preference is going to get lower than for what they've done here, this is a really good beer. I think this is approachable to somebody who maybe drinks Iron City beer. Might be a little bit too hop forward, a little bit too much hop character as a whole, but I think they would appreciate like the history or what's happening here. And then craft beer lovers who've gotten into the Crispy Boys over the past X amount of years, you could definitely get down with this. And again, this is not a fresh can. A reminder for like the 8th time this review. This is just under 4.5 months old as I'm reviewing it. And it still has a nice hop character. It's not overblown. I don't think if this was much fresher, if that would be like over the top. I really don't. But I do think maybe that dank quality would have been a little bit more noticeable if I was drinking this just say, 4.5 weeks old or something in that realm. But I just appreciate the chance to try this one. So personal preference on this one, I'm going to go pretty high. This is way higher than I anticipated. And again, I say don't go into reviews with preconceived notions. I say that like every third review. And, just going into this one, knowing what the Alchemist can bring to the table, knowing what Pittsburgh Brewing Company has done over the years with, again, a classic like Iron City beer. They also have like an offshoot craft brewery, I think, called Blockhouse. Everyone raves about their pumpkin ale. If you've had Blockhouse's pumpkin ale, post in the comment section. Let me know if it's good and if I should try to include it next year for the, I think it's the 8th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin on my channel. I would love to try that one. I did see that one when I was in Erie. Again, it was just a little bit after Halloween. It was still there, but I didn't pick it up because I'm pretty much done with pumpkin beers for the season. So anyway, over from Pittsburgh Brewing and the Alchemist, I'm going to give this a low 4.25. I'm going to go 4.15. And I think for what this beer is supposed to be, it's like a 4.5, 4.6 all day. Like, it's exactly what they said it is on the back, almost to a T. And I love the label. Like this, also, you know, obviously they're going with the black and gold for, you know, Pittsburgh is known for, especially with all their sports teams, and it just works. It just works extremely well. I like the label, a simple name, 5%. They're trying not to get crazy, and I think they did a great job with it. Price point availability, I paid $2.99 for that can, so that would make me think that if they sold these in 4-packs, because it's a 16 fluid ounce can, you're probably looking at like $10 to $12 a 4-pack all day, every day for that. That's a great beer. You know, is this going to touch the upper echelon, you know, lager producers here in the U.S. like your Schillings of the world or Human Robot? No. But also the price point's probably like $5 to $6 cheaper for a 4-pack, so you can't really compare. But for what this is, it's really good, and I have no issues paying $2.99 a can. And then availability, this is where I have absolutely no idea. Again, I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I stopped at 1,000 Beers on Peach Street. If you're ever in the Erie, Pennsylvania area and you want to check out some beers, you don't know where to go check it out. Very small place, but they have a bunch of coolers. They have, like, in between the coolers, they have beers on a shelf as well. Pretty much everything is available. Almost everything is available as a single. And I always stop in there when I'm in Erie, and I always come back with way too much beer from there. Them and Red Wine and Brew Mentor, Ohio, two staples when I want to get some stuff from Pennsylvania and Ohio. And yeah, definitely check it out. But that's where I found this one. I don't know exactly where Pittsburgh Brewing Company, you know, distros. I don't know how far like Iron City and Iron City Light and everything gets out there. But I will have to pick up Iron City Beer and Iron City Light, give those a review. I know they got a mango version as well. I'll have to check out those at some point for Macro Monday. But as is, this is a really tasty beer. If you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Like I said, 5%. No, it's a very clean beer. It's not really sweet. Almost at all. It has a little bit of sweetness at the forefront, but it finishes quite dry with a little bit of bitterness. Nice hop character, but not overly done. A very approachable beer, I think, as a whole. This would be a nice, like, if somebody isn't into lagers, isn't into craft beer, and let's say they like Iron City or they like other macro lagers, and you're like, hey, you're a Steelers fan, you're a Pirates fan, a Penguins fan, whatever, right? Check out this beer. Give it, try it and see what you think. Worst case scenario, you don't like it and you only wasted a couple bucks. That's the way I look at it. So anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. I appreciate each and every one of you for checking out another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. And until the next one, cheers. Prost.